Hi, everybody. Hello. Happy Sunday. Good morning. Welcome to our morning meeting. We are here with Percy this morning. Percy is our little spotted turtle ambassador, and he's very, very sweet. But I'll let folks come on in and get settled. Give me a shout out if you're here, and we'll say hello. Let me know where you're from. We always love hearing where folks are from. It's really interesting to us. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, and yeah, just let me know you're here. Give me a shout out. Hi, Harry. Hello. This is Percy. Percy is our sweet little painted or spotted turtle ambassador. Turtles are often named for what they look like or where they go or what they do. So we have painted turtles that look like they've been painted. We have box turtles whose shell looks like a box. And we have spotted turtles who have all these beautiful spots all over them. So turtle names tend to be pretty literal. We have snapping turtles that snap. We have musk turtles that musk each other. They smell. So we have a lot of different turtle species around us. We have 7 different species of turtle that live in Maine. And good morning, Tiffany. Hello. Hi. And a lot of these guys are found in southern Maine, especially. That's kind of like the northernmost part of their range, or where you would find them most frequently in Maine. And so we do have some pretty good turtle populations in our area. We also have our wood turtles. So George, hi buddy. George, our wood turtle, is another great example. And then, so let's see, who did I name? I have you, so spotteds, painted, snappings, musk turtle, wood turtle. Who am I forgetting? Mud turtle. Mud turtle is another one. Hi, it's only 6. Who am I forgetting? Oh, and box turtles. Box turtles are very unlikely to be found in southern Maine, but they do occur sometimes. There was one that was found out in the wild up a little bit further north than us, so it's always possible. Good morning, everybody. Hello, this is Percy. Hi, Percy. Percy is our very sweet spotted turtle ambassador. He has been with us for about 2 years now, going on 2 years. Good morning, Kim. Hello. Percy here is a very good example of something that happens to a lot of the turtles that we see in our clinic, and in fact, we just got another one yesterday. We get a lot of turtles coming into us after what we call inappropriate human possession. And this happens when somebody finds a turtle out in the wild. Either it's injured, or they think it's an orphan because it's really tiny, or they just find it in the wild and think it would be a good pet. And then they take it into their homes and keep it as a pet. And with some species in Maine, this is legal. Not something that we necessarily agree with, but it is legal to have like a painted turtle because they are fairly common. But with a lot of the species in Maine, 5 of the 7 species that we have here in Maine are either endangered or threatened. So it is not legal to have them as a pet, and it is not legal to really mess with them in any way unless you are rescuing them and getting them to a rehabilitator. So our little spotteds are considered threatened in Maine, and they are certainly not one that we would want to have as a pet. This little guy came to us from Connecticut. Somebody had him as a pet down there, and he found his way to a rehabilitator who was going to keep him as an education animal. And she had another couple of spotted ladies, and he just kept messing with them. He was bullying them. So he was adopted by us because we only have him. So he was a little bit of a bully with his friends. They're fierce. They're predators. So they can bite and they can nip, and this little guy certainly loves to hunt for bugs and things like that. So he was a little bit too much for the ladies that he was living with. So now he lives with us. Good morning, Chuck. Hello. So Percy lives with us now, and he is a wonderful ambassador. He does a really good job. He's very social. We'll see him in his tank bopping around all the time. In fact, on Sundays, he's usually really active because Mondays he eats for the first time of the week. We feed our turtles every other day. They can very easily eat too much because they are a cold-blooded animal, and if they're not using up all the energy, if they're not warm, warm enough, or if they're not using up all the energy that you feed them, they'll put it on their bodies in the form of fat, and it's really easy to make your turtles a little chubby. In fact, this guy is still a little chubby, so what we do is we feed him Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then he doesn't eat on the weekend, and then he eats again on Monday. So usually Sunday, he's like really hungry. Good morning, Teresa from the Jersey Shore. Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, one of the coolest things about this is doing these morning meetings has been seeing you guys from all over the country. I love being able to interact with people from all over the United States. It's really amazing. And the spotted turtle is found along the eastern seaboard and inland just a bit. And then they are also found around the Great Lakes. So they really are only found in along the eastern seaboard. So you definitely see them in New Jersey. They go all the way down to Georgia and South Carolina. So these guys are fairly common around the eastern seaboard, but then they don't occur anywhere else in the country. It's pretty cool. Yeah, and we call them spotted turtles, obviously, for this beautiful spots that they have on their shell. Oh, thank you so much, Kathy, for donating. That is so sweet, Kathy. As always, our videos have a donation button on them, and we really appreciate all of you giving. It's really amazing that you guys are able to do that. We really appreciate it. So as always, there is a little donation button there. Thank you so much, Kathy. We really appreciate it. But we call these guys spotted turtles for the beautiful spots that they have all over their shells. There you go. And there are all sorts of things, studies that they've done about these spots. They've found that no two spotted turtles have the same pattern of spots, so they use them to help identify them. So field naturalists who go out and study spotted turtles will take note of their particular arrangement of spots. It's called a constellation, and they'll mark it down in their field journals, or they'll connect the dots so that they kind of know which turtle is which. And supposedly females have more spots than males, and somebody found out that they tend to have more spots on the left side of their body than the right side of their body. So they've done a lot of fun, analysis of the spots because they are easy to quantify and to measure. So there are all sorts of fun things going on. But the constellation thing, that where each turtle has their own individual constellation, leads to a lot of these guys being named Orion, Andromeda, things like that. And we named Percy after the Perseids. So his full name is Perseus, but he is named after the Perseids, the meteor shower. So not quite a constellation, but still star oriented. And he is very, very sweet. He is such a good boy. But you guys can see he is a predator, and we know this by looking at his body shape and by looking at his feet, by looking at his beak. You can see he has a beak in the front of his mouth, just like a bird, and that's meant to chow down on tiny little aquatic insects. And then he also has these claws. So these claws are really good at helping him to maneuver in the mud, so he can walk around on the muddy floor of like a bog or a shallow stream and be really maneuverable down there. So these little claws are really good for digging in mud, for digging for bugs, and for helping them to get around in kind of a mud or dirt area. And they are semi-aquatic. Hi, Dad. Thanks for donating. Hello, Anne from Huntington Beach, California. That is so cool. Awesome. Hi, Anne. Thank you again, Dad. Every Sunday. So spotted turtles are what we call semi-aquatic. So they do live in the water and on land. They usually will spend most of their time in the winter hibernating underwater in like little burrows under the water. They like to go into abandoned like muskrat dens underwater. Um, they will spend most of their winter down there and then some of their summer as well. These guys don't really hibernate the same way that mammals will. They will do something called estivation, which is basically just a period of inactivity because of temperatures that are not favorable to them. So they can do this estivation when it gets really cold in the winter or when it gets really hot in the summer. If it's really, really hot and they're overheating and they're too hot, they'll slow down and kind of get inactive because their body temperature is too high. So they actually will go into these dormant phases when it's too cold or too hot. And that's called estivation. And then in the winter, they'll go underwater and they will actually stay under the mud, under the water for the entire winter season. Many of these turtles will stay down underneath the dirt in the mud for the entire winter, and they won't come up to breathe or to eat or to go to the bathroom. Cold-blooded animals will actually, their metabolism slows down so much in response to less heat in the environment that they actually don't use a lot of energy. They don't respirate as much, so their cells are not using as much oxygen and they don't need to expel as much carbon dioxide. Thank you so much, Chuck. Oh, thank you so much for donating and for watching every day. We love being able to see our frequent flyers on here. That's awesome. So they aren't using as much energy and they're able to slow their metabolism down such that they don't have to come up to expel wastes or go to the bathroom or eat. So they actually will go the whole winter without doing any of that stuff, which is pretty remarkable. And their bodies actually switch over to a different kind of respiration to keep their cells going. Hi, Leanne. Hello. They will switch from aerobic respiration, which uses oxygen and excretes carbon dioxide, and then they will, oh, Chuck, hello. Oh, what happened? Okay, hi. They will switch from aerobic respiration, where they're using oxygen and expelling carbon dioxide, and then they'll switch over in the winter to anaerobic respiration, which doesn't require any oxygen. Their cells will be kept going, but at a very limited level, and that's how they really get through the winter. It's really amazing. And the waste product for anaerobic respiration is lactic acid, which is what builds up in our muscles and causes cramping. When we're like running and our muscles get tired, our muscles are using anaerobic respiration when you're running. Basically converting carbs in your muscles into energy really, really quickly. And the byproduct of that is lactic acid, and it causes that discomfort, that cramping in our muscles when they get tired, when they get fatigued, when they don't have any more energy to give. The lactic acid is what causes all that cramping. And so these guys will build up lactic acid throughout the winter in their bodies because they're using anaerobic respiration. And their shells actually will leach out small molecules of calcium, which neutralizes the lactic acid. It's really cool. It's really amazing the physiology of these guys that enables them to survive the winter. It's amazing. Thank you so much, Maureen. That's so sweet. You guys are being so sweet and generous today. I really appreciate it. Thank you, guys. Percy, for those of you who are joining us, he is our spotted turtle ambassador here at the Center for Wildlife. We have quite a few ambassador turtles. We have 4 box turtles. We have 2 painted turtles. We have a wood turtle. And we have our spotted turtle friend. And they are all very, very sweet. And they were all actually kept as pets by people who did not know that they were not allowed to keep them as pets or did not know how to take care of a turtle. And something happened and they are no longer able to survive in the wild. So all of our turtle ambassadors came to us for that reason. George, our wood turtle, was initially hit by a car and sustained an injury and then kept as a pet by somebody after that and then was given to us. So he had kind of a long journey to get to us, but hi Percy, hi Kathy, I'm glad you're learning. You enjoy it and it's not too much technical stuff, because I could talk about the chemistry of these guys, the biochemistry of them all day. It's so fascinating. But the amazing way that they're able to cope with the different events that are happening throughout the year is just so cool. So these guys are called spotted turtles, once again, for their beautiful spots all over their shell, and that's a really important part of their camouflage. So when they're in the mud and they're in the muck and they're underwater, you know, they're going to blend in really, really nicely with the mud at the bottom of like a pond or a slow-moving stream. They really don't like quick water, fast-moving water. They also really like bogs. So bogs are perfect for these guys. Lots of standing water that builds up lots of insects and things like that. That's where these guys like to be, is in a kind of a gross water. That's what we would consider anyway. In fact, when we got Percy and we were looking into his husbandry, so how we take care of him, so the sort of habitat he likes, the sort of food that he likes, we were doing all this research to figure out how to best care for Percy. And we always, with our painted turtles at least, we make sure the water's super clean. We don't like to see any sort of nasty stuff in there. We have fish to help. Hi Levi. Good morning, Kristen. Hello. We try to keep our tanks really clean and nice. And then what we were reading about spotted turtles is they actually kind of like water that's a little bit stagnant and kind of gross. So it was hard to kind of adapt our husbandry to take care of him in a way that he appreciated. Something else that we read was that they're used to water that's sitting with lots and lots of leaves in it, and those leaves kind of turn that water into like a leaf tea, and all of the tannins from the leaves get into the water, and they love it. So that was a really interesting thing to learn. So we started putting leaves in his tank. The filter in there is really, it doesn't churn the water too much, so that he likes his habitat. And it's just interesting the way that these guys have unique needs, even to a painted turtle, even to a similar semi-aquatic turtle. Dad asks, do they get lots of algae in their shells from the bog? So they can, and in other species of turtles, like snapping turtles, you can actually see that on their shell, and they can like build up. They'll look kind of like a green color or brown color. These guys bask quite a bit, and what basking does is it allows their shell to completely dry out. The bacteria, the cyanobacteria that is algae, can't live in completely dry environments for very long. So and then they'll also kind of cook themselves in the sun. They'll bask on a log, and they will kill off any of the bacteria or algae that are in the water off their shells by using the radiation from the sun. So the UV rays that the sun beats down on these guys while they're basking helps to clean off their shells. And this is actually really, really important for the health of their shell, that they're able to bask, that they're able to get hot enough, so that heat also helps to kill bacteria. And we have a painted turtle ambassador who's with us named Lotus, that is with us because she was actually kept in this bucket of murky water and was never able to get out to haul out to bask, and her shell when she came to us was really rotted away and squishy because of the buildup of bacteria that had happened. So she did not like to bask. She didn't like the light when we first got her, and now she does. She's very good at it, but healing her shell has been a really long process from that. So the basking behavior that these guys do, and that they need to do in order to keep their shells healthy, is how they kill off all the bacteria and algae. Hello, John Paul from the Jersey Shore. Hello, we've got a few Jersey folks in here today. Hello, everybody. Kristen and Levi are asking, did he get squished in the road? So this guy was not hit by a car, Levi. We do have George, our wood turtle, who was hit by a car, and we actually just admitted a musk turtle yesterday who was hit by a car a long time ago and then kept as a pet for many years, and is living in our clinic right now, and we'll have to kind of assess his situation and see how he's doing. So turtles do get hit by cars frequently, and I'm glad that you brought that up. When we see turtles crossing the road, and you probably have done this quite a few times, we can help them across the road. We can help them into the direction they were going. We can help them to get to where they need to be going. And in the case of a small little turtle like Percy and Kathy, this is about as big as he's going to get. This is, you know, he might get a little bit bigger, but they are very small, diminutive turtles. Very, very cute. This is about as big as you would see them in the wild as well. So when we see little turtles like this crossing the road, we can absolutely help them. We can pick them up if we're wearing gloves, if it's safe to do so, if we're with a parent or an adult who can help us. It is absolutely okay to help these guys to cross the road in the direction they were going. It keeps them safe. It makes their journey a little bit safer. They can continue on their way. When it's a big snapper, you want to make sure that you're not really handling them all that much, because they can certainly do some damage with that snapping beak. Usually you just end up ushering them across the road, kind of like walking behind them. And these little ones you can certainly pick up. But a lot of times when I have helped turtles, like painted turtles, across the road, they're so fast and they just run away from you. So if you just kind of usher them in the direction that they're going, they'll hurry up. But you being there helps cars to see that there's a turtle there, and that helps them to not get hit. So we can absolutely help these guys to prevent them from getting hit by cars. Thank you for mentioning that, Levi, because it was definitely something that we wanted to talk about. Elizabeth, good morning from York. Kathy, what species are native to Maine? So that's a really good question, Kathy. At the beginning, I think we went over this, but the 7 species that we have here in Maine include the spotted turtle, and he is very handsome, isn't he? So the smallest is probably the spotted turtle. We also have a very limited population of box turtles in just southern Maine. Very, very rare, although there was one that was found up near I think Kennebunk and Arundel recently. And then we also have our painted turtles and our snapping turtles, which are the 2 most common species that we have in Maine. They're the only 2 that are considered species of what we call least concern, meaning that we're not too worried about their populations, that they seem to be doing okay. So we have the spotted, the box, we have wood turtles, like George, our ambassador wood turtle George. And they are critically endangered across the country. So they have very limited populations, but they are very closely monitored because they are very critically endangered. And then we have our musk turtles. So we just admitted one of those guys yesterday. They're threatened as well. And then we also have our mud turtles. So I think that was all of them. Did I forget anybody? I got painted, snapping, spotted, box, musk, mud. I think that's everybody. Oh, and wood. Maybe we don't have mud turtles here. I think mud turtles might not live in Maine. But musk and wood turtles. So there we go. Thanks. But of note is that of those 7 species that do live here in Maine, 5 of them are threatened. And the biggest thing that threatens these guys, the biggest challenge that they have to face, is habitat fragmentation. So these guys will usually occupy maybe, half an acre, but the box turtles or painted turtles can travel miles in their territory to get to where they need to nest or where they need to spend the winter. And when they're traversing this terrain, they have to go across lots of roads. We talked about them getting hit by cars. So when we bisect their habitat, when we cut a road in the middle of their habitat, we're fragmenting their habitat and making it harder for them to get from one area to the next. And so this is a big, big problem, especially for those turtles that are most commonly found in southern Maine. This also happens to be the most fragmented, most developed area of Maine. So habitat fragmentation is one of the biggest problems with these guys. Oh, Levi, I know he's so cute. You've met Percy before. He's very, very sweet. And you guys can see all the beautiful colors that he has on his skin and his shell. The orange is another great way for him to camouflage. You can also see, if you guys see right here, this little bubble of next to his leg. That tells me that he is chubby and needs to lose some weight. So he is on a diet right now, and these guys can gain weight pretty easily, especially in captivity. So this little bubble right here is a good indication that this guy is a little chunky. Yeah, we do closely monitor the weights on all of our turtles and what we're feeding them. So we do try to make sure that these guys stay in healthy weight. We wouldn't want him to get any bigger than this. Yeah. That's a good boy. If anyone has any questions about Percy, please let me know. I've been talking a lot, so please, you guys have been great about asking questions in the comments. I love it. But let me know if you have any other questions. And if not, we'll pop Mr. Percy back in his tank back here. We were going to go outside, but it was literally 35 degrees when I got here this morning. It was super, super cold. And it's still not even 50, I don't think yet. So I didn't want to bring Percy outside. He is a cold-blooded animal. He cannot keep himself warm. He would immediately be as cold as it is outside if I brought him out there. So I didn't want to stress him out too much, and shock his body with that cold temperature. So he stayed in the office. His tank is right over here. That's his tank that he lives in. And he has heat lamps. He has a basking lamp that he can get under that is really nice and warm. And then he's getting quite the upgrade in our new facility. His tank is definitely getting a boost. Kathy, in the wild, these guys, their age is, let's see. So in captivity, they can live into their 20s. And then I think it's pretty, it's not very well known how long they might live in the wild. Usually the captivity and wild numbers in turtles tend to be pretty close because in captivity it is often hard to give them the right conditions. So people that keep turtles as pets will often have their turtles live less long than they could if they were out in the wild. So 20, 30 years is what they say, between 20 and 30 in captivity. And then in the wild, they would probably be able to get about that old if they make it past that first maybe 5 years or so where they're really small. When they're that young, they can very easily be preyed upon by all sorts of predators, but raccoons and muskrats are some of the biggest predators of spotted turtles. And once they get beyond that age, they're a little bit less likely to be preyed upon. But those young turtles are really susceptible to predation. So Percy here is most likely 3 or 4 years old. We've had him for 2 years, and he was a pet before that, and was an ambassador for a little bit of time at another location. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to find their life expectancy in the wild. I'm having a hard time. I am not seeing a lot of data on that, and that's the thing with a lot of these turtles, is that they're not super well studied. So we know kind of what they might get to in captivity, but in the wild it might be a little bit harder to track that. Do they live on moss? Yeah, so Levi, these guys love to live, wow, in Puerto Rico. Good morning. Udumbara, hello, good morning from Puerto Rico. That is so cool. They do have natural predators. So in the wild, when they're really, really little, their natural predators would include raccoons, fox, muskrats are a big one because they do occupy kind of the same territory. So absolutely, they do have some natural predators out there. Good morning, Levi. They do live in the moss, so they like to live in our bog areas, any place where there's lots of stagnant water. So moss is certainly something that we would expect to see around their habitat. And they like to live in kind of slow moving water that is kind of like stagnant, kind of icky. something that we wouldn't want to drink. These guys like to live in that, so that's kind of their favorite place to live. And Kristen Lamb, our executive director, came back with some data on the spotted turtle life expectancy. She says 35 to 50 years she thinks is their wild life expectancy, which is nutty. And I doing a real quick Google search did not turn that up, so that's awesome that you know that. Thank you so much. We have our plant in the audience with all the information. Thank you guys so much for joining us. If anyone has any other questions about Percy, please let me know. I'm happy to stay and hang out with you guys for as long as you want. Thank you again so much for everyone who donated. We really appreciate it. There is, as always, our donation button on all of our videos, and it goes directly back to the care of our ambassadors like Percy and our patients like our little musk turtle friend that is in our clinic now. We also have, I think, like 11 or 12 red squirrel babies in our clinic right now. It's the year of the red squirrel. We've got quite a few back there that we're feeding. Red squirrels are very, they're about like half to a third of the size of a gray squirrel, and they're very, very feisty and loud and noisy, and they make a lot of sounds. If you are in the woods and you hear something that you think is a bird, and it could be a red squirrel. So we have been getting a lot of them. I'm not sure if they're having a boom year because of, you know, acorns or pine cones that were dropped last year or something really cool like that, but we have a lot of them. Thank you so much, Kathy. I'm glad that you guys learned something today. That's always our goal. Yeah, if anyone has any last questions, please let me know. We're going to put Percy back in his tank. He's going to bask. I might give him some mealworms today because he does tend to get super active on Sundays and run around his tank. We sometimes will take him outside on little walks. And if it were warmer, I would certainly do that, but it is very chilly out there for you. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. We will be back tomorrow with another one of our ambassador friends. Thank you guys for tuning in and for donating. We really, really appreciate it. And we will see you all again tomorrow. Thanks, guys.